So this example is similar to our previous example in number 17 that we have unexpected growth. In this one, it's supernatural growth. So we're going to grow really fast for the first 3 years, and then we're going to assume a constant rate of 4.5% after that. So very similar to the previous. So where we get the stock price in 3 years based on our growth rate. So we have the dividend times 1 plus the growth rate for 3 years. That's to the power of 3 plus times 1 plus the growth rate after 3 years divided by the required rate of return minus the growth rate after 3 years. So that gives us a stock price in 3 years of $96.95. For the stock price today, we have to do each rate individually. So in this, we have the dividend is 285. So we're going to start with the dividend times 1 plus the growth rate for year 1 divided by the rate of return plus and plus the dividend times 1 plus the growth rate to 2 years divided by 1 plus the required return to 2 years plus dividend times 1 plus the growth rate for 3 years. So the 25% again, this time to 3 years, divided by 1 plus the required return to 3 years, plus the stock price in year 3, divided by 1 plus the required return to the power of 3. I have some errant parentheses in my formula. There we go. So the stock price today is $82.85. And that is with supernatural growth in the first 3 years, followed by regular growth. So we've been looking at forward growth. And this is a company that's actually going to start having negative growth in its dividend payment. So they're a mature company and they're going to reduce their dividend payment by 3.5% per year. We still use the required rate of return or the dividend growth model formula. So if you remember, that is price equals the most recent paid dividend times 1 plus the growth rate divided by the required return minus the growth rate. What we just have to do is we have to reflect in our formula that that dividend growth rate is a negative amount. So if we were writing it out in math, we would make sure that we put a negative number in front of the 3.5 like we do have it in the Excel formula here. So the price is the dividend paid of $16.30 times 1 plus the growth model, or the growth rate, negative 3.5, divided by our required rate of return minus the growth rate. So it's the same formula, we just have a negative growth rate instead of. And so the current price of this stock is $136.78. Okay. In this last example, we're trying to figure out what the most recent dividend paid was. So we're just rearranging our formula. So we're going to have the most recent dividend paid is our equals the price times the return minus the growth rate divided by 1 plus the growth rate. So we're going to take our price times return minus the growth rate divided by 1 plus the growth rate. So the most recent dividend paid was $3.55.